The boss jock has entered the building. You are listening to the Sportcat Show.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. You have the one, the only Sportcat. I am here with you for the next little bit on, well, I don't know, where are we? Dare Talk Radio and Radio X in Australia. Of course, we are live on YouTube, as we always are, so come over and find us on the tube. Just search out the Sportcat shows, and you can join our wonderful chat here. We always have Denise, my number one mod and fan, and Chris. He's my number 1A fan. I shouldn't put numbers to you guys. You all are going to have to help carry me through the show today. It's going to be a rough one. The tiny terrorist, well, I'm pretty sure the tiny terrorist has tried to kill me. So for those of you that may not be frequent listeners and understand, I have my grandson who is 4 years old that lives here with us, and he is sick with some upper respiratory thing, and well, he's infected the whole house. So my voice is shot. I have zero energy, and I'm just going to push through. So it's going to be a rough one. Hello, Wendell. Welcome. And Wendell, I meant to comment to you last night. If you were watching my show, I was going to ask the question you presented, but you ran off before I did. I can't just suddenly jump in the middle of a conversation and ask a question. You have to kind of lead in. You'll learn this, Wendell, as you start interviewing more people and seeing how things are. I can't get my graphic right, but at any rate, off camera, to answer your question, Wendell, off question, he would admit to it. On camera, he would not. So there you go, Wendell. There's the answer to your question. If you want to interview him, go to his channel, check out his Instagram page, and I'm sure he will be glad to come on your show. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, my Wednesday night show is usually the Para Our Normal Guys, but we're changing it to just the Sportcat Show. And I had two awesome guests last night. We had Smitty from Fired Up Jellies and Jams. He is the co-founder of it, and we taste tested several other products. We damn near killed Harley. I forgot she was allergic to lemons, and well, apparently that's one of the natural, I guess, preservatives, and so she had to take an allergy pill. But all of the products are great. If you want to check them out, go to Fired Up Jellies and Jams, and they got some great recipes over there too. And my second guest, the Northwest Wind, he's a content creator just like myself, Sam, and he does camping, but he camps in weird places. He urban stealth camps. He's got a great show. You can check him out at the Northwest Wind. I'm going to try and get him back, and I think we're just going to do a 2-hour with him because holy cow, he is fantastic. So check him out. Denise, thank you. I wanted to just lay in bed today, but I got up and was moving. So Wendell, I gonna be honest, I don't remember if I got in touch with Dale. I think I might maybe have. I don't know. I'll be honest. This week's been a blur. It seems as though since I've returned from Tennessee, I'm still catching up. I can't seem to get ahead or even caught up. So I'm still trying. Wendell, bear with me. If I didn't, just remind me, stay on me about it. I'll do it. All right. So for everybody, you know that we are live from 2 to 4 on the East Coast, especially so we don't interfere with my daytime rock afternoon lunch show on the Thin Line Rock Station, Tuesdays and Thursdays from noon till 2 Eastern. So that's why we changed our time over here. Currently, it is 2:06 on the East Coast. Chicago, good afternoon to you, Chris. And I hope Denver's enjoying their lunch. And, well, California, you're almost there. God forbid, Hawaii, 8:06 a.m. But I'm still wondering why it is we have such a great following. In Perth, it is 2:06 a.m. 4:06 in Sydney. I was thinking about that before I went live. How does a guy just sitting in his studio in Atlanta reach out to all these people? Adelaide, 3:37. And Lord, how you are 4:37 this morning. Good morning to all of you. Thank you for tuning in. I encourage you to come over and join the chat because there's some really great people over here. You'd enjoy them. If we look at the world map, we can see where it's daylight and dark. I always like to look at this because it fascinates me what a small planet we really are from the bigger picture. Chris says, I ate too much last night watching Smitty on the show. I'm disappointed in myself. Don't be. It was well worth it. I wanted something kind of to soothe my throat before I came on, and I opened the refrigerator and I saw the, what was it? Strawberry vanilla habanero. Yeah, I went in for a tablespoon. I'm sure that's nothing but pure fat, but so good. So, yeah. It helped. I put a little honey in my peanut butter too, to see if that would help with my morning granola bar. I'm so drained. I didn't even enjoy. I don't know that I can taste anything at the moment. Yeah, that just means you need more hot sauce. All right. So today in history, on this day, 1187, the Sultan of Egypt, Saladin, captures Jerusalem from the Crusaders. 1492, King Henry VII of England invades France. I read somewhere today that France signed a treaty or accord. I'm not sure exactly what you call it, but they signed an agreement that if somehow the United States was to be attacked, that France would be the first to come to our aid. Not sure, but I found that kind of concerning. 1789, George Washington transmit the proposed constitutional amendment known as the United States Bill of Rights to the states for ratification. 1928, prelature of the Holy Cross and Work of God, known as Opus Dei, is founded by Catholic priest Josemaria Escavara in Madrid, Spain. 1944, Polish resistance fighters capitulate in the Warsaw Uprising after an estimated 250,000 people are killed. 2007, President Moon Jae-in of South Korea walks across the military demarcation line, a DMZ, into North Korea on his way to the second Inter-Korean Summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong II. Today in films, in 1957, the bridge River Kwai, directed by David Lean and William Holden and Alec Guinness, is released. And it won the Academy Awards Best Picture for 1958. 1995, the British band Oasis releases their second studio album, What's the Story? Morning Glory, and sells a record 347,000 copies in the first week. I can't place that song. 1947, New York Yankees catcher Yogi Berra hits the first pinch hit home run in the World Series history. He hit it off Ralph Branca in the seventh, 9-8 loss in the Brooklyn Dodgers in Game 3. Let's see. Wendell says a spoonful of honey is good for you every day. Yes, it is. And I had the hot spice. It's a Florida company, and they make spicy honey. So that was the Wendell says that was the bridge over River Kwai. Okay. Chris says, I'm well familiar with Jose Marie Escavero and how to say his name. Your hell, Chris, I can't talk today. I'm not even doped up on cold meds yet. Did you know Beatrix Potter's The Tale of Peter Rabbit is published by Frederick Warne and Company in London, 1902? Did you know that? I didn't know that. So, all right. Now you do. And let's go on to some more today in history. It's October 2nd, by the way. debating it. What is the 6th? That falls during the week, isn't it? I should have a special guest show because that's my birthday. I don't know that I want to do a show on my birthday. So 1780, Jean Andre is hanged. Is it Andre? I don't know. He's hung anyhow in Tappan, New York. A British major had been arrested on September 23rd with papers in his boot that proved that American General Benedict Arnold planned to surrender the fort at West Point, New York, to the British for 20,000, I guess that would be euro. Arnold deserted and fled, and Andre was found guilty of spying and executed. 1869, Mahatma Gandhi is born. Gandhi is a British-ruled Indian. Is born in British-ruled India. Politician, writer, and civil rights activist, Gandhi led India's fight for independence from Great Britain over the 30 years until the country finally won its freedom in 1947. Considered the father of his country, Gandhi was declared a Mahatma, or great soul. In 1941, however, amid the tensions of the partition of the British Raj into Hindu India in Muslim Pakistan, Gandhi drew the ire of Hindi extremists who felt he should take an anti-Muslim position. Ultimately, one such extremist named Nathan Godse assassinated him on January the 30th, 1948. Wendell, I know it's supposed to be the raw, and actually, if you mix the raw and cacao, it's supposed to be even better for you as far as the antioxidants. But no, I don't think the spicy is raw honey. Chris says, every time I see a name I don't know how to pronounce, I think of Glenn and laugh. It's turned into a negative into a positive in my life. He's changing the world for the better. I'm just proving that a dumbass can get on the radio at any point in time and say stupid shit. So there you go. 1978, Tim Allen is arrested. Not many people knew that. Yeah, that was his mugshot in 1978. He's holding his sheriff's department, Kalamazoo, Michigan. Bound, I guess no, it's jail prisoner number. That's right, prisoner number. Yeah. So, let's see. Tim Allen is arrested at the Kalamazoo Battle Creek International Airport with 650 grams, or 1.4 pounds of cocaine. He was threatened with a life sentence. He was able to avoid it by pleading guilty and providing the name of the dealers. In the aftermath, he turned his career into comedy and went on to star in iconic TV shows like Home Improvement and Toy Story. He's actually got a new sitcom on now, I believe. 1985, Rock Hudson passed away. Roy Harold Schreier Jr., known as Rock Hudson, dies from complications related to AIDS at 59 in Beverly Hills, California. He starred in films like Giant, guest starred on TV shows like Dynasty. Hudson was gay, but not out. He was the first celebrities to share that he had AIDS, as well as one of the first to die of AIDS. He was a pretty good actor. I liked him. Let's see. Close this because I have no idea what that is. It's National Smarties Day. Oh, man. Talking about sweets. That's just nothing but sugar. I actually saw a picture aboard a presidential aircraft that was taken by the granddaughter of one of the administrators. And on the, what is that? I guess you would call it the cup holder, that little section there. They had Tic Tacs, Smarties, and gummies, little bags. Oh, and Snyder's pretzels. I thought it was interesting they had Smarties in there. I never did. They were okay. What was the other one? The wafers. Those were pretty decent too. It's National Custodial Worker Recognition Day. Well, I can remember the custodian at the elementary school where I went, and he was such a good guy. He left an impression on me for my whole life. I can see his face when I'm scrambling to remember his name. National Name Your Car Day. Do you have a name for your car? I actually looked up a name for my car, and I named it after a transformer, and it's called Sunburst. Wendell, my mugshot has not been made public yet, so don't tell anyone. It's National Produce Misting Day, and did you know the things they mist them with is not always water? Let's see if it tells us that, because a lot of people don't know that. Produce Misting Day is October 2nd, recognizes the innovation in keeping fruits and vegetables fresh. Misted fingertips rest assured that produce remains crisp, plump, hydrated, and nutrient dense. Given the choice between fresh or tired produce, well, that's the same thing Mrs. Sportcat says. We choose fresh every time. After all, who wants dried out veggies? National Produce Misting Day gives us the opportunity to appreciate the small but mighty invention of misting our produce. It doesn't go into saying what it is. Let's see. Grocers soaked burlap sacks in the past and put the vegetables and fruits in water. At night, maybe I should just read the damn article. Before automatic misting systems, grocers threw away too much dated product. No one likes to waste food, especially in the grocery business. As a solution, they soaked burlap potato sacks in water. At night, they laid them over their stock. The wet sacks prevented the fruit and veggies from drying out. They even applied this technique to cheeses. Well, this nightly task worked. It was a labor-intensive. They said there has to be a better way. Eventually, there was. In 1879, came an invention that changed how we get our fresh food. Automatic produce misting systems revolutionized the grocery world. While these systems extended the shelf life of fruit and vegetables, it also increased the variety. Before, exotic food shipped in refrigerated trucks, but the time for distance travel reduced their shelf life. Now exotic fruits stood a chance with the help of hydrations. Customers no longer wait for vacation to savor a favorite delicacy. Amazingly, shoppers ask grocers to order foreign ingredients to make exotic dishes in their homes. So but it doesn't say what is actually, it's not just pure water. There's a chemical additive in it as well, but it doesn't say that. I imagine if we Googled it, it probably would. So, but yeah, that's apparently an insider secret that they don't want you to know. But yeah, I read about that recently. So, Wendell, what's the name of your car? I know you got plenty of bumper stickers on it. You have a name for your car? Let's look at birthdays and events. Well, let's just skip ahead. Groucho Marx, one of the most memorable comedians of all times. I remember watching him on black and white TV overnight. Alex Raymond, the creator of Flash Gordon. Heinz von Forster, an Austrian-American physicist and philosopher. Jack Parsons, inventor of the first rocket engine to use a castable composite rocket propellant. I saw we're launching through the Musk program, whatever, I can't remember what, Starbase, Starlink, whatever, through his space flight platforms, we're launching a new X-37B here soon. Yeah, they're not going to say when it's going to be launched, but I'm sure if you go to Florida, you can probably see it on the pad. Albert Scott Crossfield, the first pilot to fly at twice the speed of sound. George McFarland, actor fondly remembered as Spanky in Our Gang, Little Rascals. Okay. Gwen Marston, a quilter who championshiped a style of quilting she called liberated quilt making. Interesting. I would like to get somebody to make a quilt out of all my old fire department t-shirts. I've got like 500 of them. Steve Sabal, director and producer who co-founded NFL Films. Don McLean, singer best known for his hit in 1971 American Pie. Donna Karan, fashion designer of the DKNY clothing brand. Annie Leibovitz, photographer known for her portraits of celebrities and famous people. Kelly Willis, an American country music singer-songwriter. Kelly Ripa, talk show host of Live with Kelly and Mark. They've changed the guests so many times, or not the guests, but the co-hosts on that so many times. Paul Tool Jr., motorcycle designer and co-founder of Orange County Choppers. Memorable events for today. Well, 1789, the Bill of Rights is sent to the 13 colonies for ratification. Only 10 states returned the document. 1917, well, the U.S. entered WW1, World War I. The Wagner Act is signed into law in 1935, creating labor unions, but they're no good in the South. 1952, the polio vaccine is successfully tested on about 1.8 million kids across the USA. So they say it was successfully tested on 1.8 million children. Were there some that it was unsuccessfully tested on? 1967, Thurgood Marshall is sworn in as the first Black justice of the U.S. Supreme Court. 1967, Apollo 7 is launched into space and successfully gains information for the future landing on the moon. 1987, the Texas Supreme Court ruled that burning the American flag is protected under free speech. We have an executive order about that now, isn't it? You can't do that. 1990, the Human Genome Project studying DNA in humans begins. 1996, President Clinton signs the Electronic Freedom of Information Act to establish how records are kept and distributed within government agencies. Catch up on the chat here. Chris says, is that date on meds bullshit and just a way to force you into another purchase, or does medicines lose effectiveness or become dangerous in reality? As a paramedic, I figure you can tell me the truth. So I assume you're asking about the expiration date. If that is what you're asking for about, the legal answer is yes, what the label says. But I have learned from my dealings with pharmacists throughout, especially during the C virus, there was a shortage of many supplies. Technically, according to pharmacists, they lose anywhere from a quarter to half of their potency at the time of that date. And apparently it's a gradual thing, but that doesn't mean take twice the dose. So don't think that. So, but that's the answer I have been given, because we were told that we could keep expired drugs an extra 2 years on the units because we couldn't get all the drugs. Strangely enough, we couldn't get saline water. So, yeah. So, let's see. Wendell says his car's name is the Booger Camper. I like that, Wendell. Have you got a sticker or decal made up for that yet? So, Chris says, I remember when the vaccines were properly tested and worked. Great times. Well, now we just have Ford Motor make them for us, right? Isn't that what happens? Whoever gets the first makes the money, I guess. Yeah, my algorithm's just going to go to shit today. Yeah, oh well. It's International Nonviolence Day. It's the beginning of Yom Kippur. I read earlier that there's been an attack overseas, and that has caused our police agencies here to increase security around facilities. It's Bring Your Bible to School Day. Can you still do that in America? Dashan Day, it's a religious day. Guardian Angel Day. Ghana, is it Ghana or Guinea? Independence Day. It's two different countries I just named. National Custodian Day. Fried scallops. I don't think I've ever had fried scallops. Wendell, just let me know when you want me to design one. I'll come up with one for you. National Produce Misting Day. National Report Long-Term Acute Care Hospital Fraud Day. Holy crap. That's a mouthful. And I have no idea how to pronounce this one. It's a religious holiday, Vayesh Deshami. Good guess. And it's World Farm Animal Day. And remember in Australia that you may need to bring in your farm animals or protect your sheep. So remember that. Chris says, Bring Your Bible to School Day can get you canceled in America. Well, probably true. Probably can't argue that point. Let's see. Today is the 275th day of 2025. 80 days until winter begins. Question of the day. Here we go. Chris, I'll give this one right to you. I live in Chicago and have stargazer lilies in large plastic containers. How should I winterize them? Any clue? I put some radiator fluid in it. No, that's probably wrong. Dip the bulbs and store them in ventilated bags, onion sacks, in a cool room. Good Lord, go away. I don't want your snow prediction. Put them in onion sacks in a cool room out of the sun. Make sure to wrap the bulbs in moist, damp, but not wet newspaper. Can you still get a newspaper? Or put the bulbs in bags of barley. Barely. I got to get through this day. Barely moist peat moss. Just peat moss. The material must be damp, not wet. If the bulbs are allowed to dry out, they will die. If kept too wet, they will rot. So check your newspaper or peat moss every few weeks to re-wet if necessary. The cooler you keep them, the better. So I guess you could put them in the refrigerator, but I don't know. So, Chris, have you taken care of your water lilies? Word of the day, Roman indiction. What does it mean, Wendell? Roman indiction. Well, it's a number in the 15-year cycle established January 1st AD 313 as a fiscal term. Add 3 to any given year in the Christian era and divide by 15. The remainder is the Roman indiction. If there is no remainder, it is 15. I have no idea what any of that means. I have no idea. My GED didn't get me that far. Oh, yeah. I've seen your vehicle, Wendell. I've got pictures of it. Me and you in front of it, I think. I'm not sure. Let's see. Best day to castrate your animals is today. All right. Well, I don't think we'll be doing that. Or I won't. I'm planning on finding a bed as soon as this show's over. I got so much to do, though. October 2nd, the best day to castrate farm animals, cut firewood, dig holes, host a party. I'm not up for a party. Kill plant pests, mow to increase growth. Yeah, I got to pay to get mom's yard mowed again. Paint, potty train. Paint. It's a good day to paint. Potty train, and you set your eggs if you're got an incubator. And Chris says anyone in Chicago who admits to having stargazer lilies should be more concerned with their safety. If the wrong people hear this question, they need to rethink their priorities. Fair. That's fair. So, well, if they're out on their patio, who knows, right? It's a safe spot. Maybe that's their safe space. All right. So according to the Andrew McNeil Almanac for today, oh, Wendell says that picture has new stickers on. Okay, hold on. I'll bring it up, Wendell. Let's see. Today in history, in 1835, the Texas Revolution began as American settlers battled Mexican troops near the Guadalupe River. Brenda, ironically enough, had 2 legs at that time and was seen with a musket. In 1919, President Woodrow Wilson suffered a stroke that left him partially paralyzed. We had a guest on that was talking about President Woodrow Wilson's wife, and some are saying that after his stroke, he wasn't competent to lead the country, and she stepped in and did it. So there's argument is she could be the first female president. Don't know if I buy it, but hey, 1967, Thurgood Marshall was sworn in as the first black justice of the U.S. Supreme Court. In 2002, the first 2 Beltway sniper attacks left 1 person dead in Montgomery County, Maryland. I remember when that started. I was in Tennessee, so it wasn't me. We talked about birthdays. We had Nat Turner, a rebellion leader. We talked about Gandhi, Groucho. Graham Greene is a novelist. Bud Abbott, a comedian. Steve Sabol, director. And Don McLean we talked about. Kelly Ripa, an actress. And Brittany Howard, singer-songwriter, guitarist. Today's fact, after reading Leo Tolstoy's letter to Hindu, Mohandas Gandhi began a regular correspondence with the novelist that lasted from 1909 until his death in 1910. In sports today, 2005, the Cardinals beat the San Francisco 49ers in Mexico City. It was the first regular season NFL game to take place outside the United States. I am not a fan of NFL games outside the United States. And I think it's too much. Today's quote, hate is a lack of imagination, from Graham Greene, The Power of Glory, Power and the Glory. Today's number, 17,897. The number of original Peanut comic strips featuring Charlie Brown and Snoopy, published between the strip's debut in 1950 and the last strip, published one day after Charles Schultz's death in 2000. And he had said, if I recall correctly, but I don't think his children honored his wishes, that he did not wish for the Peanuts comic strip to continue. But I believe it still continues to this day. And we'll see a picture of the moon. It's between a first quarter and a full. The full is on my birthday, October 6th. I'll go howl at the moon. I'll pull your picture up in a minute, Wendell. So here's a picture of the moon and what it would look like if you are outside and can see it. The moon phase for tonight is waxing gibbous, there's no N in there, visible through most of the night sky, setting a few hours before sunrise. So it's more than 50% illuminated, but not quite yet full. This is going to last for about 7 more days until we get the full moon. Actually, it's less than that because my birthday is the 6th, so it's 4 more days. And let's get a picture of the night sky. I want to try this again. What is Andy? Chris says, Andy was in Maryland at that time. Just saying. You got a good point. So Andy doesn't come over and watch my shows anymore, and it really saddens me. I miss Andy. I wish Andy would come watch my shows more often. All right, so I'm bringing up the live night sky again, and I really, really enjoy this because you can see our solar system in 3D and, in theory, real time. So I'm fascinated by the asteroid 3I Atlas, which is making its appearance. It's about to go behind Mars. And see, this one to me doesn't show it, or I'm just blind, one or the other. At any rate, we can zoom in, zoom out. We're going to talk about 3I Atlas here in a bit because, well, it's got some more weirdness to it. It's just amazing us all. Brenda says, hold on, let me catch up. Brenda says, okay, Glenn, they are done trying to kill me. I'm here. Well, welcome, Brenda. When the hell are you going to come on here and help me out here? I need help. Chris says, I try to peer pressure Brenda into making him watch. I miss him. I wish he would. And I don't know. Maybe he doesn't like me anymore. So I stopped the Misfits, which is still one of my most popular shows. And I get more requests for it to come back. I just can't keep the Misfits round up. It's too hard. It's too much. We talked about this on last night's show with Sam. Being a content creator isn't easy. It looks easy. Come on here, razzle dazzle some BS and hopefully get a couple likes, maybe some subs and some fans. Definitely sometimes we'll get stalkers and negative comments. That's okay. But it's not easy. And when I did the Misfits, I love the show, but keeping all those people on point, it's like herding cats. It was not easy. And I was just so over it because we were doing FM radio at the time. So I had to keep them to where they weren't saying anything. And I had to keep them on point, and they would just go squirrel on me. And it just made me want to just go nuts. That was the master telling them, keep them in line. All right. Once again, I don't see 3I Atlas, but supposedly it's on here. It's closest to Mars, and everything that we have in space is pointing towards it to try and get a better view. And so we are learning more about it. We're learning we really don't know what we think we know. And that's the oddest part of it all. Now, we did this yesterday, and I swear I did not see 3I Atlas, but hey, there's K1 Atlas, not 3I. Where the hell? I'm making myself dizzy looking at it like this. We found it by searching it, didn't we? How did we find it yesterday? And why is it not just showing up? Stop with all this. Major solar system objects, Mercury. No, I want to find comets. I want to find 3I Atlas. And where does it? Okay, there it is. 3I Atlas. And it's a constellation Libra. We know that. And it's currently a lot of kilometers from Earth. And it's still moving pretty quickly. And, well, boom. Come on, man. Good Lord. There's so many buttons to push. All right, so 3I Atlas is, let's see. Well, this isn't the 3D version, but there's Mars. There's 3I Atlas. Here's another one coming right behind it. There's one in front of it. There's one over here. And it's coming closest to Mars. So they're taking a peek of it to see what it's doing. I got some better pictures of it here in a minute. Let's just go to that because this thing's annoying me. I don't understand why you can't see it in the 3D one, because it, to me, isn't there. Watch, it's going to be there now. You just watch. It'll be there. There's Mars. Don't see it. I'm up, above, I'm around, I'm over. I don't see it. For some reason, they take it out of this one. And I don't understand why. Make sure I'm reading it right. But yeah, there's Mars. You'd think, according to the other one, it'd be right there. But for some reason, it's not there. Why is that? All right, we're going to move on because it's annoying me. Let's go to, well, let's start some news for the day. Let's see. Do they know how Brenda says, do they know how's flying it yet? I assume you mean who is flying it. Well, no, they don't. They're sending out, Jesus Christ, Yahoo. They're sending out messages to say, come in peace. Yesterday, one of our alert viewers notified us that Jane Goodall had passed away at 91. The famed chimpanzee expert inspired a Stevie Nicks song and believed Bigfoot could exist. Renowned chimpanzee. Wait till I take cold medicine tomorrow. You think this is a bad show? Whew. Renowned chimpanzee researcher and conservationist had died at 91. Jane Goodall Institute announced on Wednesday. Their statement said that they had learned this morning, Wednesday, October 1st, that Dr. Jane Goodall, the messenger of peace and founder of the Jane Goodall Institute, has passed away due to natural causes. She was in California as part of her speaking tour, according to a statement. Statement continued that her discoveries as a ethologist revolutionized scientists, and she was a tireless advocate for the protection and restoration of our natural world. Fans have flooded the Institute's official announcement with tributes to Goodall and the impact she's had on their understanding of animals and wildlife. One of my idols, rest in peace, Jane, and thank you for inspiring generations of girls, one user wrote on Instagram, while another added, she was my hero since I could speak. I'll always be grateful for the joy she brought into this world. I will always love her. Born Valerie Jane Morris Goodall on April 3rd, 1934 in Hampstead, London, she was considered the world's leading expert on chimpanzees. Her research began in 1957 after traveling to Kenya and meeting Louis Leakey, a renowned anthropologist who encouraged her to study the human origins of chimpanzees. In 1960, after establishing a camp in Gombe Stream National Park in Tanzania, Goodall dedicated herself to closely observing the behavior pattern of chimpanzees. Through her empathetic approach, is that empathetic or empathic approach? Okay. Goodall was able to earn the chimpanzee's trust, allowing her to make revolutionary discoveries and effectively change the way animals are studied. But her legacy and cultural impact extended into her life's work. She's considered one of the first pop culture scientist communicators by the National Geographic. We've rounded up a few unique facts about her. She inspired a Stevie Nicks song. Stevie Nicks penned the track Jane about Goodall, serving as the celebration of her life and accomplishment. It was the final track on the 1994 album Street Angel. She debuted the track, which was entitled Jane's Song, at the International Tribute to Jane Goodall, a benefit held in Dallas in October of 1991. On the chorus, she sings, "There are angels here on earth, angels, there are angels here on earth, angels sent from God. Come away from the wall, stay with us while you can. Well, you can, Jane." Goodall loved more than just chimpanzees. While chatting with GQ in 2021, she revealed how much she enjoyed learning about the intelligence of octopus, citing the 2020 film My Octopus Teacher. She said that she had become close friends with the film's director, Craig Fisher. The pair, Goodall told GQ, frequently communicated about the wonders of the deep ocean. "There's new things cropping up all the time in the world of animals, insects, birds, and more sophisticated ways of studying them. It's just a magic time for any students who want to go into that field." My Octopus Teacher went on to win the Academy Award for Best Documentary of 2021. Goodall believed Bigfoot could exist. In the same 2020 interview with GQ, she elaborated on her belief that Bigfoot could very well exist. She opened up about a previous trip to Ecuador, which informed this belief. Every single country, she added, has its own version of the myth. Yeti, Yowie, Wild Man, and last night we learned there was another one, the Mudman. It was Chris. What was it called? Mud sits in Illinois. Bigfoot. I don't know if it's perhaps a myth that stems from maybe the last of the Neanderthals, but then is the last of the Neanderthals still living in remote forests? I don't know, but I'm not going to say it doesn't exist. And I'm not going to say people who believe in it are stupid. Well, thank you. I have experience. Goodall acknowledged her looks helped her get publicity. While chatting with Yahoo in 2018, she admitted that her appearance garnered considerable attention early in her career. Though it helped that she wasn't, quote, born ugly. She said the emphasis placed on her looks felt pretty stupid. Nothing to do with how you know and study what you look like, but if it's going to give me some coverage, and that would be helpful because it's always having to get more money and also getting the word out, she told the magazine. And it all started with a stuffed animal named Jubilee. Her fascination with chimps began when she was a child. At just one, her father gave her a stuffed chimpanzee, which fostered her deep appreciation for animals. She named her plushie Jubilee to celebrate the birth of London's Zoo's first chimpanzee. In my childhood, I never wanted a doll. I wanted toy animals, and chimpanzees were so exotic. I never thought I would be studying chimpanzees at the time. Let me catch up on the comment here and see what's going on, because apparently they are going wild here. Brenda is going through PT for her physical malaise, and so she says that they're trying to kill her yet. And Wendell says that the reptilians are the ones flying the Comet 31 3i Atlas. Chris says because they don't want to explain why the experts can't explain, so pretend it's gone. Yeah, no kidding. They don't know how. They don't know crap, Chris, is what Brenda says. He says, I'm rolling tape when you are reading names on cold meds. It'll be there. Yeah, it'll be great. And tomorrow's going to be a great show. I'm telling you, everyone I talk to swears she died years ago. Talk about Goodall. Chris says, I never saw the crocodile hunter going before her. She did in the Mandela effect. Send me a link on that, Brenda. I think I got of it. Mud Monster? No, there was a name for it. He gave me last night on the show. What was the name of the thing? Big Muddy Monster is what apparently they call it in Illinois. Big muddy monster. Apparently, it's something about a river right there by the border of Illinois. So, big muddy monster. Apparently, it's quite popular. You can Google it, and there's a statue of it. Don't ask me. I don't know. Oh, I'm dragging today. We'll speed this up a little bit. The White House is signing anti-terror order, which is targeting anti-capitalists and anti-American views. Well, here's what you need to know. This comes to us from Time Magazine. And let me see what Chris sent. The Murfreesboro Mud Monster. Is this the one? No, he said it was, what did I say it was? The Big Muddy Monster. Hold on, I'll pull it up here. Yeah, they have search here. Big Muddy Monster. Wendell, you need to go investigate this one. Get your what did you call it? No, I guess you're right. Murfreesboro Mud Monster. But there was a statue they brought up, a picture of. Well, there's a whole section here, apparently, that, well, this is quite informative. I'll forward this to Wendell. He likes to know about this stuff. But the Big Muddy Monster is what he sent me a link to last night. And there was there's a picture of it, that of a statue. Yeah, the statue, this thing. So, that's just kind of creepy. Oh, where'd it go? Go back. Big Muddy Monster. So there you go. And it's in this picture, it's holding a basket. It just looks weird. How did we digress to this? I don't know. So there you go. Big Muddy Monster are, as Chris found for us, the Murfreesboro, am I pronouncing that right? Murfreesboro Mud Monster. Mysterious large beast sighted at midnight in 1973 when a young couple was parked by desolate riverside for a romantic interlude when they came face to face with a huge, wet, hairy, mud-slathered beast with a penchant for disturbing teenage lovers. Wendell, where were you in 1973? So somebody sent me this. Hold on, I got to close something. Good Lord, y'all are going to see all my personal communications here. Somebody sent me this. I thought this was funny. Make sure the volume's up. You might like this.
This will be the best thing you see all day. After the Democrats voted to shut down the government, Caroline Leavitt set up the perfect voicemail on the White House comment line. Check this out.
Many people don't know you can call the White House and leave messages.
Thank you for calling the White House comment line. Hello, America. This is White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. Democrats in Congress have shut down the federal government because they care more about funding health care for illegal immigrants than they care about serving you, the American people. Until Democrats vote for the clean, Republican-backed continuing resolution to reopen the government, the White House is unable to answer your call or respond to your questions. We look forward to hearing from you again very soon. And in the meantime, please know President Trump will never stop fighting for you. Thank you, and God bless you.
And sadly, it is true. What a troll of the Democrats that was, but it's very true. They care more about illegal immigrants than you, the American people.
And that is correct. All right, Wendell, let me share the picture of your car here so you'll be happy. There's the picture of Wendell's monster. What did you call it? Monster something? I don't know. That's Wendell's stickers in his car. So there you go, Wendell. I put it up. So you're happy. All right, let's carry on here. Let me catch up at the comments real quick. Let's see. We talked about that. Brenda says, so if it gets clean, then what do they call it? Well, it's not a. Chris says, Andy may be in Murfreesboro too. Wendell at that time was in Atlanta. That's no excuse, Wendell. The Trump administration is facing mounting criticism over a sweeping directive that expands the government's definition of domestic terrorism. Indicators to include a wide range of political beliefs, with lawmakers and civil liberty groups warning it could be used to criminalize dissent. The order, which directs the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force, JTTF, to investigate networks with entities and organizations that foment political violence, identifies ideological markers such as anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism, and anti-Christianity as potential red flags. Rights groups say that the language is so broad it risks sweeping in protest movements, advocacy organizations, and critics of the administration. The goal is to silence people and groups by threatening retaliation, according to Representative Ro Khanna of California. Hey, there you go. She's the one that would know. These are McCarthy-era tactics. The rise in political violence is real, but attacking free speech is not the answer. The White House has rejected claims that the order targets free speech. As someone who actually knows what it's like to be censored, President Trump is a strong supporter of free speech, and the Democrat allegations to the contrary are so false they're laughable, according to the spokesperson Abigail Jackson. The Trump administration will get to the bottom of this vast network inciting violence in American communities. The president's executive actions to address left-wing violence will start to put an end to any illegal activities. Well, here's what you need to know. What does it say? Well, the order is named NSPM-7, which directs the JTTF, the task force, and its offices to create a national strategy to investigate, prosecute, and disrupt entities and individuals engaged in the acts of political violence and intimidation that suppress lawful political activity or obstruct the rule of law. Common threads animating this violent conduct, which it says includes anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism, anti-Christianity, support for the overthrow of the U.S. government, extremism on migration, race, and gender, and hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on family, religion, and morality. The order also requires the task force to coordinate investigations into Antifa. Though experts note the group is an ideology rather than a formal organization, raising questions about how the investigation will proceed. Political violence is described broadly as sophisticated, organized campaigns of targeted intimidation, radicalization, threats, and violence designed to silence opposing speech, limit political activity, change or direct policy outcomes, and prevent the functioning of a democratic society. So who will be affected? Yeah, it's here on YouTube probably. Experts warn the directive could significantly expand the number of Americans under the federal scrutiny. It directs law enforcement resources to target a range of activities, which often characterized as violent, but also covers many aspects of the First Amendment, explains the director of Liberty and National Security Programs at the Brennan Center. It's not an order that is directed at criminal activity or terrorism, even though it uses those words frequently. Nonprofits, their employees, and donors could face investigations if deemed to aid or abet those engaged in certain conduct. The Secretary of Treasury is tasked with disrupting financial networks, funding political violence, and ensuring organizations that support such activities lose their tax-exempt status. Didn't the FBI under the last administration do this to people who showed up at school board meetings and spoke out? Am I wrong? Did they not do the same thing, except it was towards people that went to speak out for their children's rights in school? Didn't they do that? Just curious. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong. I may be. Let's see. It is his Facebook group and podcast name. Okay. Chris says, some of us are consistent and didn't like when past administrations also tried changing the definition of words like recession, inflation, and women who blow smoke up our asses. My opinion, YouTube, don't censor Sportcat. Yep, okay, fair enough. Pretty sure, though, that the last administration sent the FBI into school boards. Pretty sure that happened. Tell me if I'm wrong. Somebody refresh my memory. So what What? What are they doing? Yeah. Okay. Feel so much less constrained that I can say that now. Delta jets have low-speed collision on LaGuardia taxiway last night, injuring one. Overnight, New York, 2 Delta Airlines regional jets collided on a taxiway at LaGuardia Airport in New York, injuring a flight attendant. I need to check with my buddies, make sure they're okay. Damaging a cockpit and tearing off a part of a wing in what is described as a low-speed collision. An aircraft carrying 32 peeps was preparing for takeoff Wednesday to Roanoke, Virginia, when its wing hit the fuselage of an aircraft arriving from Charlotte, North Carolina, with 61 souls on board, according to a statement from Delta. I use that term because apparently it's no longer politically correct to use the term souls on board. And that's what in public safety we've used for eons. But now it's wrong. There you go, Chris. They're trying to change the definition of a word. Flight attendant had a non-life-threatening injury and was taken to a hospital, according to a statement from the Port Authority of New York, New Jersey. There were no reports of passengers injured, according to the airline. The right wing clipped our nose in the cockpit and have damaged our windscreen and some of our screens, a pilot said, according to air traffic control audio. You can see images. I'll show you one here in a minute. The plane that had landed stopped, jumped, and jerked to the right, according to passenger William Lusk. Everyone went dead silent, and as everyone went dead silent, the pilot calmly came on and said, "Hey, we've been in a crash. Everybody remain calm." That's reassuring. Delta will work with all relevant authorities to review what occurred as safety for our customers and people come before all else. The statement said, "We apologize to our customers for the experience." The Delta Connection aircraft involved in collisions was operated by Endeavor Air. Both are CRJ 900s, according to the FAA, which is investigating. The planes can seat 70 to 90 passengers. LaGuardia is one of the 35 major airports that the FAA has installed advanced surface radar systems to keep track of vehicles. There you go. That wasn't a close call. That was an actual hit. And here is a picture. Now, I really wish somebody had got a picture of the wing, but yeah, it pretty much jacked up that plane there. So, yeah, I don't know that I would want to be that would have been the captain's seat. Scary. So, Brenda said, yes, they did. I believe that is correct. Chris says they also sent undercover FBI into traditional Catholic churches as potential domestic terrorists. Hey, too, also on one day, actually, I think it was the 6th day in the first month of the year. Didn't we just now learn that they were also out in the attended the people out attending? Didn't we just learn that? Huh. It's funny. Well, never mind. I'll just shut up. How am I doing on times 3? I got an hour left. I brought this up because we've talked about this for 3 days. This guy, he may be a great human being. He may love kids, but he's an illegal alien. But in Iowa, Sleepy City has moved to protest for their superintendent who is detained by ICE. Now, let's recover a little bit here. We're talking about a person that is here in our country illegally when he was involved in a routine traffic stop. He fled from police, ditched his city-owned vehicle and fled, leaving $3,000 in cash in the vehicle and a firearm. That's who this city is protesting for. And what really got me, on Tuesday, hundreds of students walked out of middle and high school. Now, tell me something. When you were in middle school, did you know anything about what was going on with your superintendent, or you were probably lucky to know your principal's name if you didn't get in trouble? High school, probably getting more closer to having an opinion on things, but middle school students had a walkout. No, the parents had a walkout. They told their kids to walk out. Let's get the story straight, NBC. Dozens of students gathered at the state capitol The students didn't. The parents brought them because they can't effing drive yet. Come on, NBC. They were seen holding up a sign that says radical empathy, a tagline he frequently used. During rush hour, roughly 20 people, or at least they didn't call them students, displayed a banner from a bridge, probably because having kids walking alone over a bridge is illegal. That's probably why they didn't say it. With signs reading, "Free Dr. Roberts." They said, this person may be a great person, but he tried to evade arrest, was found with a loaded gun. Yes, I forgot about the apparently large hunting knife in his vehicle. He did not have the proper education to be a school superintendent, much less a teacher. But yet these children who are not really of age to say or do much walked out on their own. Don't buy it. Like I said, he may be a great person. He looks like he is empathetic towards the kids and probably a good speaker and role model, especially being a former Olympian from Ghana. And I'm sure he's had some trials and tribulations, but we can't get past the fact here. He was here illegally and he lied about who he was. So, but yet they're going to send kids out and say the kids are the ones protesting. Bullshit, NBC. So sorry. God, I feel so much better being able to say this. Chris says 270 plainclothes FBI agents. Yeah, that's correct. So if I'm wrong, at me, please, because I don't believe when I was in middle school, if somebody were to come and said, hey, we need to walk out today because we're protesting, I don't have a clue if I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. High school, perhaps. But after that, yeah. And Chris, I agree. When did kids ever pass up adults telling them no school and field trip? They don't really care about that guy. Bingo. I need to find a sound effect for bingo because, yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to be mean to the guy because he may be a great guy, but let's not get past the point. He was here illegally. I got to use that, except it'll probably hit me. And if I use this one, YouTube will get on me. So sorry, I ranted. We got 55 minutes left and we ain't even started my normal stuff yet. All right. So the interstellar object, a comet, is swinging past Mars and, well, a fleet of spacecraft from the world is looking onward to see the interstellar visitor. So the comet known as 3I Atlas is hurtling within 18 million miles, 29 million kilometers to the red planet. Its closest approach during its trek through the inner solar system. Oh, it's sped up now. It was 135, then it went to 150 something. Now it is traveling at 193,000 miles per hour. For our Australian friends, that's 310,000 kilometers per hour. The European Space Agency satellites that are around Mars are already aiming cameras at the comet. It's the only the third interstellar object, that's why it's called 3I, to have passed in our direction, according to scientists. It was discovered in July, but it poses no threat to the planet or any other neighboring planet. It comes closest to the sun at the end of October. The comet will make its closest approach to Earth in December, passing within 167 million miles. The Hubble telescope put the nucleus at no more than 3.5 miles across, but it could be as small as 1,444 feet. That's a pretty big distance. I mean, you're saying it could be 3 miles across, or it could be 1,444 feet. What? What? I don't. That's.
Attention. We're looking for the chick with big boobs.
Yeah, we are ready to do you now.
That's what I thought about in middle school and high school. So there you go. Chris says no threat that the people who have no idea what it is. They apparently have no idea what it is, and they apparently have no idea how big it is.
No, for your information, I have full-size balls.
There you go. That's a NASA scientist. All right, so Elon Musk has apparently announced a Grokpedia to challenge Wikipedia's left-wing bias. I got to say, Grok I may actually pay for. Elon Musk launches Grokpedia to challenge Wikipedia's alleged bias. The new platform will use Grok AI to correct misinformation. Critics claim Wikipedia is compromised by partisan activist editors. Wikipedia's immense influence shapes public perceptions in other AI models. The project is aimed to create a more truthful, open source knowledge base in a bold move that challenges the established gatekeepers, that's what he does, of online information. Tech billionaire Elon Musk has announced the creation of Grokpedia, a new encyclopedia project aimed squarely at dethroning Wikipedia. He announced via his social media platform X, this innovation from Musk AI XAI company responds to growing concerns that Wikipedia has been compromised by partisan activists, undermining its mission to provide neutral knowledge. Musk planned to leverage his Grok artificial intelligence to build what he promises will be a more truthful and more reliable repository of information for the public. So it's the AI-powered encyclopedia. It doesn't have a release date, though. But when we were kids, we went to a library and we got a book. If we didn't get it there, we'd go to the local public library. And if we couldn't get it there, well, we were screwed. I grew up in Washington, D.C., so we had a little bit larger of resources. But, yeah, we had to break out the Encyclopedia Britannica and do references. And, but I'm old. What do I know? And why is this guy not gone? I thought we had this guy sent off to Africa. Judge has blocked Kilmar Garcia. Apparently, he tried to reopen his asylum case, but he will now be deported. The ongoing saga around surrendering illegal immigrant Kilmar Garcia is finally coming to an end. Yesterday, a judge denied his last bid to reopen a 2019 case. A U.S. immigration judge on Wednesday denied a bid for asylum from Garcia, whose case has become a proxy for the partisan power struggle over immigration policy. The judge in the Baltimore Immigration Court, hey, it's in a Democrat city too, denied an application to reopen Garcia's 2019 case, but that is not the final word. He has 30 days to appeal to the Board of Immigrations. The guy from Salvador has an American wife and children, has lived in Maryland for years, but he illegally immigrated to the U.S. as a teenager. 2019, he was arrested by immigration agents. He requested asylum, but was not eligible because he had not been in the country for more than a year. However, the judge ruled that he could not be deported to El Salvador, where he faced danger from a gang that targeted his family. Now, remember, if you have listened to the show, why did he face danger? Because he was in the gang, I believe it was Tren de Aragua, and he murdered the parent of a gang member rival. That's why he was in trouble. Democrats, especially Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen, fought to keep him in America. He was sent to El Salvador, and several Democrats went down there to visit him. A gaggle of Democratic lawmakers followed Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen's lead and traveled to El Salvador to advocate for the release of him, a man who had lived in the United States illegally and was deported. This news source covered 2 judges determined that Garcia is a member of the violent gang MS-13. Yeah, I'm sorry, I misspoke. He was in MS-13, not Tren de Aragua. Despite the fact liberal media outlets and activists have dubbed him a Maryland man and have pushed lawmakers to bring him back to the United States. He is currently being held in El Salvador. This included the aforementioned Von Hollen, Maxine Dexter, Robert Garcia, Maxwell Frost, and Yasmin Ansari, all Democrats from Oregon, California, Florida, and Arizona. The optics were so bad that House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries put a kibosh on Democrat travel to El Salvador. Hakeem's been in the news too here recently for another fumble. And the Department of Homeland Security weighed in With today's ruling, the final order removal stands. The MS-13 gang member, human trafficker, domestic abuser, and child predator will never be loose on American streets. His lawyers tried to fight for his removal from the U.S., but one thing is certain. Apparently, he's not going to stay here. He's not going to prey on innocent Americans again. Never forget, Democrats flew to a foreign land on U.S. taxpayers' dime to break bread with a terrorist gang member and visit him in prison. While they continue to fight for criminal illegal aliens, we will continue to push safety of the American people first. Someone else pointed out it seems that Democrats used Garcia in their war against Trump and now made it impossible for him to be sent to South America. And a quick Google search shows that Democrats who were the most vocal about Garcia have been tight-lipped so far on the wake of this ruling. Let that sink in. But I thought he had already been deported to Africa somewhere. So, Lord. Chris says, if it's a threat and that shit goes downhill when it all gets here, who will hold the expert accountable? And is murder really something we can't look the other way on anymore? Come on. I'm sure he meant well. Exactly. He was a fine, outstanding citizen. And Wendell says, I want to know who said he was an expert. Probably somebody in the media. Wasn't me. Trump White House finally responds to Hakeem Jeffries whining about the sombrero post and its gold. They really don't get it. The memes will stop once they reopen the government, but also when they stop all their bitching. This is a kind of published news source called townhall.com. Democrats in the media are incensed, foaming at the mouth with rage over the Trump social media team making sombrero and maraca videos mocking Democrats for being a trash party with laughable public policy positions. And even worse, leadership. It all started to fail at a failed meeting between Trump and leadership, senior leadership. It accelerated when every random Democrat went on CNN, MSNBC to complain about it. Representative Hakeem Jeffries and Senator Chuck Schumer, the initial targets, also whined about it, is now in the congressional record, with Schumer explaining that AI created the audio-visual. Thanks, man. There was no way we didn't know the fake mustache and sombreros on Jeffries was fake. Yesterday, Jeffries again had a hissy fit on CNN with Jake Tapper about the videos. Oh, we didn't mention that Jake Tapper, CNN actually caught him, and he couldn't get out of the truth. You can go find out at CNN.com that he would not use the words illegal alien. It was all people. American dollars for all people. But now, apparently, they're running a loop on a television set in the White House briefing room. They've got the videos on loop at every press conference of the memes. It's great. Great. I don't know if I like it or not. Our government has become so jaded. The hell? Why is it showing me a house for sale in Georgia? This is an article. We talk about planes traveling frequently. We did talk about dozens of aerial tankers going to Qatar, and there's really no way of knowing why the military is going there. They're planning for a attack. Obviously, if you're sending tankers there, each tanker can support up to 30 aircraft. Did the aircraft go with them? So something that, and researching this, the KC-135 was introduced in 1955. There's 820, 400 still in service. This goes into some of the specs on it. While researching this, I found that the original stealth fighter aircraft, I'm sure people of my generation remember it, it has apparently been placed back in service. There's also supposedly a push to bring out battleships and get them back in service. So we're repurposing some old military equipment and bringing it back out. And that could be supported by this KC-135 tanker, at least the aircraft. The battleship couldn't. So still, we don't know why they went over there. And we talked about this, the USA's most battle-tested warship. Well, right now, that one is off the coast of Venezuela. U.S. Navy has deployed a guided missile destroyer, the USS Stockdale, to the Caribbean to lead counter-narcotic patrols close to Venezuela. The ship is widely described as the service's most battle-tested warship since the Second World War, after a high-intensity 2024-2025 Red Sea deployment that saw sustained engagements against aerial threats while escorting merchant shipping. So our most impressive and battle-tested destroyer is off the coast of Venezuela. Stay tuned. And Trump has also brought out of retirement a fighter pilot general to lead the Air Force. So we're repurposing things and people. So Trump nominated a nearly 4-star general and fighter pilot to serve as the Air Force Chief of Staff, General Kenneth Wilsbach, whose fighter pilot experience include F-15, F-16, F-22, last served as commander of the Air Force's influential Air Combat Command, which includes more than 1,600 aircraft and 155,000 troops before his retirement. He's the second general that he has pulled out of retirement. Remember, he brought out Joint Chief of Staff Raising Kane, Dan Kane, the general. He brought him out. So we're repurposing some old things. Is that good? I don't know. Catch up on comments here. Let's see. Oh, that's funny, Chris. That's funny. Okay, I won't read that comment. I'll just hit the button. So, wait a minute. The button didn't work. Okay, there it did. I was about to say, they've already got me.
We have people in Washington that don't know what they're doing.
There's a shocker. So we're going to keep blowing up drug boats. All right. God, we are so far behind. I apologize to my Australian audience. I am just out of control today. We didn't really get to cover this much earlier. I did mention it, but we finally now have some news coverage on it. The Houthis attacked a Dutch ship in the Red Sea. I kind of covered it earlier, but I couldn't find any credible sources. But apparently it resulted in a fire on the Dutch ship, and 2 crew members were injured. So they used apparently a cruise missile to attack the ship. And then, of course, they took control of it after the crew abandoned ship. It caught on fire. They were evacuated to a nearby vessel, and the 2 injured mariners received first aid. So they're working with international authorities to get what's left, tow it to a secure port. So it was headed eastbound from Africa, and it was not carrying anything, according to the company. So there you go. Well, there's definitely nothing on it now. We kind of talked about this earlier. New domestic terror law, it might be needed. Well, they're trying to sign in some executive orders and things. So this comes out because there has been polls for college students. I'm trying to figure out how to word this correctly. The polls ask if there were 2 people that were behind the C. Kirk guy who should suffer similar paths, who they should be. And one of them mentioned the leader, chief of staff, the number one guy, Trump. The other one mentioned the Grokpedia guy. So we have college campuses taking polls on who should be offed next. Does that seem like something we should be teaching our younger generation? So that's what this is talking about. A new terror law might be needed as political violence enacts. Speaking of that, and this is I found 2 articles on this. One was behind a paywall. I kind of mentioned this the other day. Political activist and Donald Trump confidant Laura Loomer tweeted Tuesday night that a U.S. Army research scientist and adjunct instructor is behind an immigrations and customs enforcement tracking app called Red Dot. They're calling it should be investigated and fired. And this isn't like Waze where you go on Google Maps and you report police activity. I kind of have a problem with that. This goes further than just reporting the location of where ice and ice activity is. It's tracking their families. It needs to be gone. Something needs to be done. This comes to us from an alert reader. Judge rules USPS, United States Postal Service, ban on guns is unconstitutional. The policy banning people from bringing firearms into post offices violates the Constitution, according to a federal judge in Texas. Judge Reed O'Connor, he's a G.W. Bush appointee, in the post office owned regulation and federal law barring firearms possession in federal facilities cannot survive scrutiny after the Supreme Court's 2022 ruling. The ruling said that firearms restrictions to stand, they must be consistent with what the founders who crafted the Second Amendment would have envisioned. So apparently that is going to be overturned and you will be able to carry a gun in the post office. Washington toddler, as far as Washington State, a 3-year-old boy found a live grenade in his family front yard from WW2. Grant County. Okay. This is a Washington toddler, but Grant County is Portland, Oregon. Anyhow, they found a WW2 era hand grenade. The deputies immediately asked for the bomb squad. They determined the grenade was live, then carefully removed the device to a rural area and disposed of it. Investigators said the grenade was the type used during WW2. It had clearly been exposed to elements for some time. It's not clear how it got in their front yard. And I thought I'd have time to cover this, but Henry Winkler, I did not know that he suffered from dyslexia, and he stated that he read his first novel when he was 31. And apparently now he has gone to writing, and he's got a new children's book out called Detective Duck, The Mystery at Emerald Pond. So it's 40th publication, Detective Duck, The Mystery at Emerald Pond, came out Tuesday. So check that out for your kids. It sounds like a good book. All right. I don't remember any World War II battles in Oregon, Chris says. Yeah. Chris says, Brenda says, I carry mine and no one says a thing. Well, Brenda, you just put it in your fake leg. That's all. All right. Let's see if FEMA's updated here. And it appears they haven't. So they should give us this one that just comes up and says out to lunch. So there's apparently no update on FEMA. President's schedule, well, there's nobody really around in Washington, so he's receiving, the only thing on his schedule today was an intelligence briefing at 11 today. His schedule's been kind of light for the past couple days. We'll go over to the National Weather Service, the daily briefing, and see if we have anything updated on it because, well, it says the site will remain updated during the shutdown. Well, that's good news. All right, so we'll talk about this quickly. Any of these areas in green from Washington to central California, back across the Midwest through Montana, could see some sporadic thunderstorms today, and areas could also see some thunder snow. And then that area extends down into Kansas and Oklahoma and into the deep south in Arkansas and Louisiana, and of course along the coastline from Chesapeake Bay all the way around to the bend of Texas in the Gulf of America. So tomorrow, the chances of that wintry mix is going to increase in the west. In Missouri, Illinois, Kentucky, and Tennessee, we'll see the chances for more significant rain. And then by day 3, which is Saturday, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, and the higher elevations in Washington and Oregon are going to start seeing some of that wintry mix sneak in. While in the south, in the Gulf of America, and along the East Coast, there's still the chance for some rain showers and thunderstorms. And yeah, Chris says the October 3rd FEMA briefing will say, nothing to see here. Exactly. There's nothing to see. So, and let's see. Chris says, Wendell says there was one battle in WW2 in California. Was that where they sent the balloon across and tried to drop grenades? Wendell, is that what you're talking about? All right. So this here is pretty much what we just talked about. Whoa, stop that. You see today's historical events, weather events. There's Fridays and then Sundays, or Saturdays, just as we were talking about. Let me skip this graphic so we can get to Australia and talk to our fans and friends down there. Sydney, let's refresh this to make sure I have the most recent data from the Bureau of Meteorology. All right, I do. According to the Bureau of Meteorology, remember, I'm just a sport cat. I'm not a weather forecaster. Sydney, it is now 12.2 Celsius. Why do they have 0.2 points in? Why is it not like with us? It's just all even. In Sydney today, well, 0% chance of rain, and your high is going to be 24. Melbourne, you're at 13 Celsius. You're almost to your high. You're going to get some showers today, and it will be 18 Celsius. Brisbane, well, 13 Celsius is your current. That's colder than what your predicted low was supposed to be. And you're going to make it to 28 Celsius, and it will be warm. Perth, well, you're looking at 10 Celsius. That is your low for today. Partly cloudy, a high of 23 Celsius. Adelaide, 14 is your current temperature, and 21 is your high today, with clouds clearing out by the afternoon. Hobart, you're almost at 10 Celsius. You're at your low, and you're going to have some storms today, but it's only going to make it to 16 Celsius. Canberra, you're at 7 Celsius, partly cloudy, and you're going to only make it to 18 today. Darwin, well, you're right at your low at 25. It's anticipated that it will remain partly cloudy and get to 35 today. That is from the Bureau of Meteorology. We look back at the lower 48, and there's less 2% chance in the lower 48 for tornadic activity, less than 5% chance for any high winds or hail. And looking at the expected precipitation, the amount of rain, actually, we're going to look at it. Can I do that here? Yeah. We're going to see that the Dakotas and Montana is where the most rain will be. The higher elevations of Idaho and Nevada. Over on the East Coast, if you go from Myrtle Beach down around to Key West, high rain probabilities for today. And if you get back over into Louisiana and the Gulf of America, I'm going to change this because I thought they were going to have it today. Did they not? They're not going to do it. Yeah, they did. Okay, there we go. And this is the snowfall forecast, and we see Montana and Wyoming. It's got the highest chance for snow today. Let's move this ahead to Saturday. And it's, I guess they're not updating this like they normally would, but I was playing with this earlier and it was showing, you could see the snowfall. Yeah, it's not going to show us. Yeah, okay. They're not updating this. All right, well, maybe when our government comes back in session or whatever it is, when they come back from their vacation. When they come back, do you think they should be paid for their days off? I'm asking for a friend. Let me catch up with this. Comments. Chris says they have a doormat that says, yeah. Actually, my friend Penguin 6, if you watch him, his entire mission for news agencies yesterday was to go out and photograph closed signs. Chris says, I would have thought a progressive and liberal place like Oregon would have a grenade-free zone. Yeah, they should have signs up, but didn't happen. So, all right. So we're going to the National Hurricane Center to talk about storms, and there's actually some concerns. Imelda, well, she's gone. She's way out there. She's affecting Bermuda. Actually, I believe she's through Bermuda now. But we have disturbance number 2 with a possibility of it becoming something more serious, somewhere down off of the Miami coastline, skirting up through central Florida and then over to the Panhandle. So we're going to keep an eye on that. There's a 10% chance in the next 7 days that it could form. And then back behind that, if you remember, we talked about it, there's a 20% chance of a cyclone coming out of the central tropics. So we're going to keep an eye on that. That one's got some potential. And I've got this this website will be updated according to them. So we'll look at the tropics in the Atlantic, and we can barely see Humberto up there. And this one down here off the coast of Florida is still just kind of trying to form and do something. But if you see coming off of, let's go out here to the Atlantic picture, and you see, well, no, this is zoomed in. This is the storm down off of in the Caribbean. It's trying to form really badly, but we're going to wait and see if it turns into anything. This is the Gulf of America. There's nothing right now in the Gulf of America. Why did it not show? Okay, well, maybe it did or didn't. And the Caribbean, which is down further south, and we still get just a picture of that trying to form off of the coast of Florida. We're going to keep an eye on that over the next several days. The potential, there's low ice in the atmosphere, and there is less dirt and dust in the atmosphere. So there's a probability of storms increasing. We're not at a hurricane season yet. So Chris says not every map can be big blue globe quality. Well, speaking of which, Chris, I have a new map. Google Weather and apparently Google AI, according to a lot of the meteorologists I follow, has surpassed the Euro and the American models as far as its accuracy. So I went over to the Google Weather Lab and I brought this map up, and I thought I'd see what we got. And they do show a couple little things down off the coast of southern Florida trying to form. And if we look back over in the Atlantic, we see we're on loop. We see on their repeat loop here, which is for today through tonight, the possibility of these storms coming off of Cape Verde. So I'm going to keep an eye on this when a storm forms, because they've already taken the spaghetti model off. It was the only one to accurately call that the first storm, Imelda, was it Imelda? Yeah, because Humberto was further to the east. It was the only one to predict that it was going to come skirt the coastline and then bank hard right. So I was kind of impressed with that. I wish we could, though, make this into a globe. That would be kind of cool. And you can zoom out and you can see in other parts of the world. You see the typhoons that we talked about coming across the Philippines, going through the South China Sea, and coming up and affecting China. But yeah, so we're going to keep an eye on this. This is the most recent Google weather. It's the newest, and well, it's the best trick. So, and let's see here. What's next? Our weather warnings. We're just going to skirt through this since we're running so far behind. Let's see if we see anything severe. We know there's lots of gale warnings and stuff like that. Oh, look here. Montana and Wyoming. Moderate to heavy snow is possible with accumulations to 7 to 14 inches. It's in the mountains of Montana and Wyoming, and it's going to start forming Friday through Sunday. So impacts, well, it could be affecting travel in that area. So there you go. That's our first winter storm watch in Montana and Wyoming. Maryland, there's some coastal flooding off St. Mary's, so hopefully Andy won't be down there driving around in it. And let's see what else we have. Yep, come on. Yep, what did we miss? Flood watches in Florida. That should be a constant thing. Winter storm watch in Montana. We've already talked about that. Coastal flooding on the East Coast. And that's pretty much most of the severe things for about the next 12 to 14 hours. Go back in. I hate it when my mouse does that. Just looking for red. I wish I could figure out how to filter it for the red, which are the most life-threatening ones. Coastal flood warning in Maryland. I missed something there. This is all coastal flood warning. All right, let's zoom out here, and this will show us current. This comes to us from GMA. This will show us current watches, warnings, and we see there Melda, well, apparently merged with Humberto and took over, and well, it's currently moving to the east-northeast. Right now, if we go down into Atlanta, they have, what is going on in Atlanta? Probably special weather statement. It's probably going to be air pollution. humidity is around 25%. Okay, why do we have low fire danger? Okay, why should it should be red, not peach? Let's see. So we have flooding along the east coast and up in through the Chesapeake Bay. We see up here in the New England region, rip currents and some winter storm watches, probably frost warnings, red flag warnings out in the Midwest, and pretty much, we'll just call it most of the Dakotas. And then on the West Coast, there's all kinds of watches and warnings. Let's zoom out here and see what else we got. And let's go to this other map. I like this one better. It was more educational. Brenda says her pain meds are kicking in. Well, Brenda, you shouldn't be taking pain meds when you're watching my show. So just a thought. I don't know why you have to blame me and my show on it, Brenda. So I'm struggling, folks, and I apologize. Blame the tiny terrorists. All right, let's zoom into this map and see what we got here. Wind warnings, that's out there for the tropical cyclones. That's probably for Bermuda. And up into Newfoundland, St. John's, up in that area. And I'm sorry, Bermuda is down here. That's Hamilton, Bermuda, right there. What do we have up there? That's way up in Canada. And it is a wind warning. Okay. All right, let's go down into, I like to see this map breaks it down in red right there. It's all red. We're south of Atlanta, and you don't have to go through things to know that it's basically a fire warning. All right, let's go over to our friends in Australia and see what they have over there. Let's see if I can F up community names. All right, along the West Coast, strong wind warnings on the coastal waters. That's going to pretty much go from Brisbane down through 10th. Let's just say Melbourne. All the wind warnings are going to flip around through and over to Portland and almost to Adelaide. And inland is warning to sheep grazers. So if you have sheep in your inland on the West Coast, you might want to bring your sheep in because there's going to be cold, snowy conditions at the higher elevations. And we have fire warnings up in the Barclay Fire District for today. And then over in Darwin, you also have a fire warning. So check with your Bureau of Meteorology and probably get the most reliable and up-to-date information where you don't have to worry about Sportcat screwing it up. And let's see. This is a map just showing the precipitation. And we see Central Florida right now in the lower 48 is the area with the most precipitation. And we'll zoom out and go down to Australia since we're running a few minutes behind. We're always running behind. It looks like a pretty calm, at least rain-wise, day for today in Australia. Let's look and see where the lightning is. Right now, the only real major storm, there's a small one up in Minnesota, right at the Canadian border. But it looks like down in the Gulf of America, it is heating up a little bit. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, over in New Orleans. Any of my friends listening that work out on the oil platforms, well, there's some electrical activity, so be prepared. Looks like there might, nope, not out in Key West. Let's go down to Australia, make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, no, there is some electrical activity, and it looks to be, I don't know, where the heck is that? It's right in Western and Northern Territories border. There's a pretty good sized storm right there with some decent electrical activity. So if you're in that area, right at the border of the Northern and Western Territories, you might want to check with your Bureau of Meteorology and see if if a storm is approaching near you. Look at the current U.S. power outages. Well, California currently has 15,000 people without power. So that means then into a code yellow for the state. And in Florida, Nevada, and Louisiana, and Texas all follow behind with around 4,000 customers in each without power. Let's look at the map and get the forecast here. Brenda says, oh, the walking cold holder got you. Yeah, the walking terrorist got me. Yeah, the tiny terrorist got me. All right. We see the purple dots here are little disturbances. When we see that one, the weather forecast is already calling it to stay off the coast of Miami, cross over and go through central Florida, leaving Florida just above Spring Hill, Tampa, where then it will affect probably Panama City. We're going to keep an eye on that. And then we see Humberto. Well, it's not Humberto. It's Melda now. They should have a better name. Is currently moving off to the northeast. Washington, D.C., your forecast for today, 69 is your high, partly cloudy. New York City, let's see what you are today. Your high is 66 and partly cloudy. Jump up to Boston. In Boston, we're seeing 60 with sunny skies. Go over here to Burlington, Vermont. And they are high of 64, sunny skies. In Atlanta, Georgia, I say Atlanta, it is currently going to be, it's currently in the 70s, at high of 76, and cloudy skies. Nope, sorry, sunny skies. I'll get it eventually, folks. In Knoxville, Tennessee, well, high of 79 degrees, sunny skies. I'll be back there soon. For our troops in Memphis, well, if you're listening, you're going to have a high of 88, sunny skies. No chances of rain. It's going to stay in the 80s all week. Down in Texas, we'll look at Dallas. Those Cowboys are going to have a high of 90 today. Sunny skies, no chance of rain. You're going to stay in the 90s most of the week. San Diego, well, San Diego, you're looking at 71 as your high. Sunny skies. Your low is only going to be in the 60s, maybe dipping down to the high 50s all week, but it's going to remain sunny. Go up to Redding, California, and we can anticipate a little bit of rain with a high of 66. Don't worry, though, by midweek or by the end of the week and first of next week, you'll be back up into the 80s. Portland used to be a beautiful city. Cloudy skies, 65. That's your high today. Pretty much tomorrow, the same forecast. Saturday, well, you're going to get some rain. And it's only going to come down to the low 60s before returning to sunny skies and back up to near 80 by midweek. Seattle, well, where are you in here, Seattle? There you are, Seattle. You can anticipate a high of 65 and cloudy skies with a low of 55. And that's going to be your story through most of the week. Then beginning next week, you're going to warm up with clear skies. Did I miss anybody here? Let's jump down to our friends in Australia. We pretty much said, but we'll go over it again. Canberra. Well, and we're talking Fahrenheit now. Your high is going to be 59. Cloudy skies. Hobart. You're looking at a high of 53. Very windy, though, so keep that in mind. Adelaide, well, your high of 63. Sunny skies. Perth, 70 degrees. Cloudy skies. Tomorrow, you can anticipate some rainfall. The temperature will drop down to the mid-60s. And then Port Hedland, we're looking at 95 degrees as your high. Whew, goodness gracious. And it's going to be sunny all week, but it's going to get hotter by midweek up to the triple digits Fahrenheit. Darwin, well, you're already at 95, and that's your high today, but it's going to continue to be a hot one, a scorcher, up for the next few days. So there you go. Who do we miss? Queensland. We're looking anywhere from the 90s, sunny sky, and lows probably, maybe, if you're lucky, it'll get down to the low 50s. All right. How are we doing? At 15 minutes here. We just did this, really. It shows right now where is the hottest spot. Phoenix is 94. Odessa 90. Houston 91. And let's see. The hottest spot in Australia currently right now is Darwin. All right. And talking about temperature, well, most of the United States today is a code yellow west of the Mississippi, with the exceptions down into Texas and along the Gulf of America and much of the central states in the mid-Ohio Valley back over to the Dakotas has some code orange today too because of the temperatures. Brenda says it is 93 currently where she is. You're in which city, Brenda? I forget. I don't know. Kilimanjaro? I don't know where the hell you are. Let's see here. This is the big, beautiful globe. Yeah, cold medicine oncoming soon. Very, very soon. I'm feeling it. The big, beautiful, perfect round globe. Looking at the winds and the current conditions, we see the hurricane is just kind of going to the northeast. Much of the United States, though, is going to be fairly wind-free, except for from the Chesapeake down to central Florida and across to the Gulf. That's all that coming off of that ridge of pressure from the two hurricanes that merged together. We'll zoom down to Australia, and we see there that, well, it's going to be a lightly windy day along the west coast. And down along your southern border there, you can anticipate some stronger winds. You can check this out. Just go to the big, beautiful globe and look at what AI says it's going to be. You jump on here. We're running low on time as usual. There are currently no tsunami warnings. Advisory watches are threats. That's always good. Brenda says, let's take our meds together tomorrow. Sounds like a good show. Yeah. All right. Let's see. The most recent earthquakes and volcanic activity. Let's just go to the next map. Great Sitkin is a code orange. Shishaladadan, butchered that. It's code yellow. I'm trying to figure out why do people listen to me again? I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. Kill West, code orange for your volcanic activity. And we'll see in the past hour, we'll zoom out and see where the most recent earthquakes are. Oh, down by San Antonio. It appears in southern Texas. They've had a 2.2. And then up in Nevada, they had a 2.2, and that's all been within the past hour in the lower 48. I don't see anything for Australia in the past hour. We'll jump to the past 24 hours, and we see near the coast, east coast of Australia, there was a 3.2. And go back over to the United States, and for the past 24 hours, it was the only ones that, well, wait a minute, why they report it in the last hour, but you go to the last 24 hours. Okay, there we go. There we go. I was about to say, how can you have it in the past hour and not have it in the past two? Western Montana, 3.5. And they had two of them at 3.5. Northern California, 2.8. Down closer to San Francisco, 2.2. Over in Nevada, 2.2. Several 2.2 earthquakes in Nevada. And let's see, Texas. Well, Western Texas had a 2.4 yesterday and a 2.3. So there is your earthquake rattling and rolling forecast. The NASA map is not updated anymore. I couldn't get it to even load today, but they did do this, and they did change the data somewhat, a little bit, maybe. So Arkansas was the state yesterday to report the most fire activity with 130. Texas, you had 118. Louisiana, 101. Alabama, Wendell, you started 73 fires. And we see that we're moving further to the middle of the continent now with the fire activity. Washington had 58, while Georgia had 45. Tennessee, 31. In Florida, 29. You can see here the graph depicts most fire activity for the past 24 hours. And the winner was Arkansas with 130, Texas with 118. Look at the smoke from all those fires, and it's pretty much blanketing west of the Mississippi, straight up through the continent, and covering most of Texas, all the way up to the Great Lakes. And let's see, let's go to the pollution map. And I was goofing off with this a little bit, but we see up in the North Atlantic, we see the storms moving off, and we see this break of dust coming off of the Horn of Africa. I don't know why they call it the horn. It doesn't look like a horn to me. Anyhow, we see that break. This water is extremely warm, and the water to the west of that is extremely warm. And that's what they're concerned about with the storm off of the coast of Florida and the other disturbance not far behind. All right. Space weather, well, this site is going to be updated. So we're at a minor right now for a solar storm. And as my understanding is, the closer that 3I Atlas gets to the sun, the more space weather conditions are going to change, because apparently 3I Atlas is pissed off the sun. I'm going to skip through this today at 2. Since we just got a few minutes left, let's go to the plane watch real quick. And I don't do this justice. I really need to spend more time on this with you guys. But this shows all the plane activity for the military. You can bring it up for civilian and track any flight you'd like. A lot of these are training flights. I did discover yesterday through one of my friends, we were talking, if you remember, we were talking about these smaller planes, these T-38s. T stands for trainer and tactical. And what my friend told me was the military is bringing these back to do training, and that they're bringing them to the East Coast to train pilots. Now, apparently, I'm not up on all my aviation stuff, so don't at me on this, but apparently the T-38s are being used to replicate what other aircraft might be like coming into our airspace. Take that for whatever enemy you want to call it. So apparently we're using our pilots in trainer flights to simulate what could happen if a different aircraft from another country came into our country. I'm not doing that justice, but what I'm trying to say is we're bringing out the T-38s and using them as basically bait and trainers to test our pilots. So that's why we're seeing the uptick of the T-38s, which I thought was pretty cool. So, and there's one that's going out of Virginia Beach and kind of up the coastline or across the Chesapeake Bay, and they're not telling who it is or what they're doing. All right, let's see here. And we have, well, that's just a C-17 Globemaster. It's coming out of the Gulf of America and it's flying up. And I'm going to take a wild guess that it's going to cross the drink and probably go to Germany. And let's see. We have a United Kingdom coming out of Canada. That's just a transport ship. Looking for anything that there's a tanker. So once again, there's a tanker up off the coast of Milwaukee doing some flight training. You know that there's some other aircraft it supports around it. So which one is that? Okay, it's a dignitary coming out of Dayton. All right. Don't know who the dignitary is. I didn't get a heads up on anybody. Not that they tell me, of course, but. And let's see, what do we have here? It's probably just a C-17. I probably looked at it already. I don't see any P-8s yet. And there's a tanker once again. And the tanker is flying a route going from the border down at San Diego up to Central California and back. So we know that it can support up to 30 other aircraft. It can be planes or it can be helicopters. There's a Canadian C-17 coming out of, where are they coming out of? They're coming out of San Diego and headed north. Interesting. I don't know why they're a little lost, but hey, we'll let them fly. So I guess they're returning home. Let's see. Another one, a C-17. And there's a KC-35 Strato tanker. And so this is interesting. All right. So this tanker comes out of Pennsylvania and it's headed northwest. This tanker is coming out of the Gulf of America and it's going due northeast. Interesting times we live in. And let's see. It's an E6. And a lot of these are just transport equipment. And I'm looking, I don't see any P-8s, but we see these T flights now up and we see a lot of them and they have different code names. They're Navy, they're Air Force. So they're just training flights. So there you go. That's why we're seeing the uptick in them. Apparently it's cheaper to use them. It is the 22s, the 16s, and the 35s, which makes sense. And occasionally you'll have some of these other flights pop up This is this is actually a Homeland flight coming out of Louisiana headed to the northeast. And it's funny how they're using these smaller aircraft now. All right. Yeah, it's another one coming out down there off of the Gulf of Mexico. And see, this is they're just up and about for Homeland, flying in basically a crop duster. Look it up and see for yourself what that little plane's capable of. It's pretty impressive for such a thing. Now there's an interesting flight coming up, and it's a King Air, and it's just kind of circling before it heads north. Okay. And Blackhawks over Atlanta. They must be keeping an eye on me. Let's jump over the drink and see what we got. And we have a Portugal flight that it doesn't say where it came from or what it's doing, but it's off of the coast. And then Spain has a flight. I don't see any P8s up, and that's a good thing. Well, maybe. And here's a U.S. flight coming out of Germany, probably headed home. What do we have down here? It's probably a drone. Nope, that's a small plane. All right, we're gonna move onward here. C-30. All right, Blackhawks. I'm going to see if I see any P8s up. P8s, as we know, are sub hunters. They're the best. I like to find them the most. All right, let me get, because we're running out of time here, folks. I have had a good day with y'all, but I tell you, my voice is shot. My throat is sore. So, all right, we'll go out of here looking at, well, real quick, look at the marine traffic. And also, it looks like there's, whoa, come back here. It looks like over off the coast of Africa, it looks like traffic is returning back to normal there. So that's good news. And then up off of Yemen coast, it looks as though traffic there is returning somewhat normal, which is good for us, because if that area is shut down, either of those two areas is shut down, prices on goods here in the United States are going to skyrocket. So I will be back tomorrow if all goes well. Maybe Brenda will join me. Maybe she won't. I don't know. She keeps teasing me. I don't think she really wants to come do the show with me any. So, and that's okay. That's okay. I can still handle it. We'll go out of here with Bit Defender, and red are attacks. Yellow is infections. White are spam. And if the map would draw, you would see that it's currently most of them coming at the United States, and it's coming from Asia. Why is it not drawing? It's been doing this for the past couple of days if you've watched the show as we go out of here. So, all right. So Brenda says, shut up. Yes, I do. Well, I don't believe you, Brenda. Your words matter, Brenda. Words matter. You got to come over here and join me. I need somebody to take the the pressure off my voice. All right. Well, we're going to get out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tolerating me today. If you want to get in contact with me, you can find me on X at Sportcat. It's probably the easiest way. Sportcat at protonmail.com. You can shoot me an email. If you want to shoot me a speak pipe, you can go to speakpipe.com/Sportcat. And all that pretty much is just a voicemail. And if it's funny enough, it'll get on the air. All right, everybody, have a great day. Hopefully I will see you tomorrow, and hopefully the cold meds will work by then. I'll catch you soon. Sportcat, I'm getting the hell out of here. My voice is gone.